All right, so I think we'll start now in respect of everyone's time. So good afternoon. Welcome to the Discovery Garden webinar series. My name is Roxanne, and I'm the face behind the emails you've been receiving. I'm responsible for connecting and building relationships here at Discovery Garden with institutions around the world. So today, our Chief Technology Officer, Noah Smith, who is the magic hands behind the product, will be giving us a full demo of our new product, Aurora. You'll get to see both the front end and back end of the system and get a sense of how it all works in practice. But first, I'd like to hand things over to Johnny Stevens, our Chief Revenue Officer, who will give a brief introduction to Discovery Garden and an overview of Aurora and the pricing structure of the product. And please feel free to drop any questions into the chat as we go along. We'll do our best to answer them during or after the session. So Johnny?
Thank you very much. Roxanne's just in the other room, so I can hear her talking through the wall, but we wanted to separate. We'd be having too much fun during the demo, so she had to go to the other room and I'm stuck in the corner here. Nice to see everybody. Thanks for joining. We do these demos and sessions from time to time, usually a couple times a quarter. And so some of you have been on these calls before and others for the first time. I won't bore you with a ton of detail, but I do think it's an important framing just to situate things. So I'll share quickly a couple of slides. And for those of you who've seen these before, please, take a quick mental break. So just quick context, the Discovery Garden has been around for 15 years. We only work in Islandora. We are inextricably linked and connected to this wonderful community. And we've had lots of great history working with a number of institutions you can see at the bottom. This timeline is a fun one for me to look at because I am relatively new. So Islandora, as many of you would be aware, was founded out of the University of Prince Edward Island, just up the road from where I am, where Roxanne and Karen and I are today. So UPEI created this system in 2007, but a few years later realized there needed to be some level of support and help for institutions, for the core code base, and they founded us. And so we are, again, completely connected. So connected, we actually wrote a big chunk, 95% of the original code, and we're very, very deeply involved in the re-architecture of the system. The thing I'm most excited about on this timeline is 2025 forward. So Noah Smith, we've introduced him as the CTO, Chief Technology Officer of Discovery Garden. He'll do a great job introducing himself in just a moment. Noah's the founder and CEO of Born Digital. And so as of September of this year, the two organizations have merged. We've come together to serve the community and our institutional partners better. Why compete when we can go to market together? So it's been a lovely union. And that's really what we're looking at. This kind of arrow forward includes our colleagues at Born Digital, who are, I guess we're all one big happy family now. A couple of quick stats that I'm quite proud of. The first one is our average staff tenure. Roxanne and I dragged that down. We actually have our technical staff would have been here for 10, 12, some 14 years. So long tenured staff members. And a few of the areas that we're focused on is migration, so migrating content. We've created some automations to be able to get to about 1 million objects a week, which is no small feat. Bot management. Some of you may be experiencing negative bot traffic. We've done a webinar on that, and it's available on our website. Our colleague Luke did a great job explaining how some of these bots are operating, why they're making it through traditional filtering mechanisms. The good thing about Aurora is that we don't have those problems. It sits behind a web application firewall, which fights AI-based bots with AI. So, and those are kind of the core slides. You can read faster than I can speak, and I think everyone's here to see the demonstration. Very quickly, I'll point you to this. This is a site anyone can access. The pricing is completely transparent and open. And so one of the things that we're excited about with this union of these two companies is the ability to serve all ends of the market. So anyone can download Islandora. You can go to the foundation website, you can get it today and install it. And some of you may have your own implementations. We offer a flavor of Islandora, so pre-configured starter that can be deployed quickly, but it tends to be custom, right? For clients that really need deep customization, they want full control, they want to host on-prem or in the cloud. But with that comes a cost, right? The cost to maintain and support those custom solutions can be higher. And we have clients that need that level of customization. Aurora answers the need for those that are happy within a specific bell curve of feature sets. And so Noah and team devised a pre-configured cloud-hosted instance of Islandora that is called Aurora. You can go through this and he will do a much better job of outlining the features. They're all available, as is a link to the demo site that you'll see today from this website, aurora.born-digital.com. The pricing is clearly outlined. Thank you, Noah, for sharing that. The pricing is clearly outlined. There are one-time fees, so a DIY installation. We have clients that want to do that. They have the capability in-house. They need the install done. So that one-time install is $12,000, and it includes installation, some level of kickoff, because we do love our customers, server provisioning, and then a metadata template that will help in your migration, that will help you move from wherever you are into Aurora. Many clients are choosing a more white glove service, so full onboarding, which is a cost inclusive of the license of $32,000. That includes site colors, logos, fonts, configurations, and analysis of metadata, custom fields. We say 5. If you needed 6, it would be okay. And then we provide training as well. And for those that need a complete turnkey, call me when it's done. We do offer full migrations. And so the upfront fees, compared to what we have traditionally been able to charge, or what we've been charging for a more enterprise installation, are a lot lower. And then the ongoing fees include maintenance, support, and hosting in one monthly fee based on the volume of data, the size of the collection. And so all the monthly, Drupal makes a release every 3rd Wednesday. That gets updated. Access to support, ticketing system, access to our colleagues who sit just on the other side of the divider, hosting in AWS with a rolling 30-day backup. And it's based on a bronze, silver, and gold tier. And so bronze would be $900 a month and includes up to 1 terabyte of storage, which is ample for many institutions. Silver is $1,500 a month and includes 5 terabytes of storage. Gold is $2,000 a month and includes up to 10 terabytes of storage. And for any of you with massive collections, we have a client with 25 terabytes. We have others with significantly more. We will custom quote the monthly hosting costs. So again, very upfront and transparent, offering something to the folks that need a turnkey solution. So that's the end of the financial salesperson presentation. Now I think the meat of the meeting is what Noah's going to present, and so I'll hand it over to him.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Roxanne. It's nice to see some familiar faces here and some new ones. So thank you for coming and hearing about Aurora. Let's see. I need somebody to give me screen share permissions, though. Yeah, so we had worked on Aurora. Aurora is sort of the culmination of all of the work that we have done in Islandora 2.0, and we debuted it at Open Repositories this summer, and we're very proud of our pilot site with Boston College, and we're delighted to have a string of Auroras in process to go live soon as well. All right. Roxanne, is that?
Yeah, sorry, we're working on it.
No. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. All right.
Johnny and Roxanne, I think I found it. Noah's been given co-host privileges, so he should be able to share. There we go.
Okay, great. And now you can see my browser tab here. So this, again, is the site that Johnny clicked through. Everything I'm going to show you today is presented sort of in narrative form in this features tab. So if you're looking for a summary, you know, to provide to somebody else who you need to, you know, show what Aurora includes, this is probably the most succinct page, this feature page, in terms of what is included. That link to the demo, as Johnny mentioned, is up here, and the pricing page now seen as well. Contact us, I think, gives you a form, and you can schedule a demo from here as well. If you click through to this, I believe it will schedule. It'll take you right to a calendar scheduling tool, and you'll be able to sign up and get on our calendar to talk about your project. Okay, so what I would like to do is take you all through the demo. I am logged in, as you can see. I'm actually going to log out. We'll log in again later at the end. So as I said, this is essentially the same package that we've been using as a starter for our enterprise clients for the past 5 years of Islandora 2 development. And so you will find that it is a full-featured Islandora from the perspective of Islandora 7 in the late days, if you're from the Islandora community then, or basically what the latest the community has to offer for many features at the moment as well. We did make some feature restrictions in order to keep costs down. Our target cost was about half of what our enterprise projects were, and we were able to achieve that, and we're able to run this cluster with the same margins on our side. And that's what we were looking for, right? Cut the cost for the customer and be able to do the same quality of work, and to be able to take care of our team members in the same way that we have with enterprise works. So the core of any Islandora site is two things. It's discovery and access, right? So if you just run a global search, you can see all of these different pieces of content that we've loaded into the demo site. And of course, if you click through to any given object, it will load for you in your browser. So what sort of content is supported? I think the best way to look at this is with the About page here. What we've done, and I'll come back to accessibility in a few minutes, but what we've done here is we've created a list of the most typical content types that folks look for in an Islandora installation, and we've linked them here. So I'm just going to pop open a few of these, and we'll click down through them. So this is an example. One of the first questions we get from many institutions is, can you have nested sub-collections? So you can see that, from the site root through audio, visual, and image materials, there is a sub-collection, and then there are a couple objects in this collection. So that's an example of a nested sub-collection. This is an image in the Mirador browser. The Mirador viewer is our sort of preferred multi-page, zoomable, feature-rich, IIIF compliant image viewer. It is our standard for sort of complex images. There's all sorts of things in here. There's some metadata that it's able to display. You're able to click through and see the IIIF manifest that generates that. You could take that manifest somewhere else and load it into a different IIIF compliant browser. So it's all within the IIIF ecosystem at that point. If your institution likes the OpenSeaDragon viewer, we still do offer that as an alternative. So this is an object that's set up within the OpenSeaDragon viewer. This was the standard in the Islandora 7 days, but now I would say Mirador, or in some instances, the universal viewer are the preferred viewers. We chose Mirador for accessibility reasons. I'll come back to that in a little bit. Okay, and this is just a basic image, right? It's just an image, no zooming, just show a JPEG on the screen, right? And I didn't go down to the bottom of the page on those previous, but the functionality is the same, right? There's a permalink you can use to share the object. There is a download button, which actually pulls up a dialog, and there can be multiple different content types, different media that are attached to this object that you can download from this form. And it shows the item description or the metadata. When I click into my admin login, you'll be able to see that there's a pretty large metadata field set that you can choose from, and only the fields that you fill in are shown here. So to the outside world, it looks like this is a fulsome representation of the metadata, and it is for the metadata that's present, but there's a lot more power and flexibility behind the content model than what you see here. Some of these are references to other things. I don't know if you can see, I guess you can't see the URL when I mouse over these, but if you click into one of these links, it will take you to another page. So this actually is a link up to the parent collection for this object. This is what a PDF looks like when loaded into the site. This is typical for IR content and other student and faculty work. And the functionality down below is the same, right? Download, permalink, metadata vary. Okay, let's go a little further with books. I touched on this a few moments ago. So this is a multi-page object in Mirador. You can see that there are a number of pages for this book. It has the same functionality that I clicked into in here before, and there's no text. There is a little text, but this is not text that is OCR-able very easily. So this is not a very good example of what does a book look like with OCR. I believe that this one, yeah. So if I go in here, I can actually, let's see, if I turn on the text layers, you can see that the extracted text, oh, I could, yeah, you can highlight it here, is visible in here. And in fact, if I do a search within the object, we should get several hits for ocean within the object. And of course, all of this text, which is extracted, is indexed. So if I were to search for ocean or something maybe more unique, there must be something unique here, like Zealand, in the search, I would hit this object on the site. And actually, it would go right into having this search be open right from the start when you clicked into the object from a search like that. Okay, so that's books. This is newspapers. So this is sort of an old school Islandora layout where, and this is a very small example, obviously, where the years are presented in the top level, and then you can expand months within that, and then you can click into the object itself. And the newspaper is handled in Mirador like a multi-page book. There's nothing special about it as a newspaper once you get to this level. But all of that OCR, HOCR is available here. So it's all been text extracted and text indexed. Okay, I think this was just the link to the page we just got to. All right, let's look at a couple of compound objects, and then I'll load up the audio and video right behind that. Okay, so this is a compound object. Compound objects are a little bit of a Islandora invention. Once you get to start using them, I think you'll like them. What they are is sort of a slideshow presentation of a collection or of an exhibit, is how many of our clients use them. So many of our clients put their content into a nested structure of collections, and then they'll create a few compounds which pull content that is related in some way to create a little exhibit for an on-campus purpose. So maybe it's the anniversary of the founding of the university or something like that, or a special event on campus, and you can tag any number of objects from anywhere in your collections into these. So this one shows 3 images, and it's 3 different OpenSeaDragon displayed images, as you can see. Down here, where the metadata display is, there's a toggle between set description and item description. So the set description is the metadata for the parent, right? For the parent object, and the item description, as I click each of these tabs, the item level metadata changes. So this is the metadata for the individual object that I'm on right now. The next tab is going to show you what happens if you put non-image content into a compound object. So in this case, this looks like it's a paper with some data sets, maybe a collection of papers and data sets, and some reference PDFs here at the end. And so if you need to create complex, again, to use the terminology, compound objects of multiple sub items, this is the best way to do it in our experience. So, and you can see that this is broadly applicable, right? You could build complex IR content, as you're seeing in this display. You can build little image slideshows and so on. I'll click into a binary object here so you can see what that looks like. Essentially, it's just the download link, right? All the PDFs will display with their PDF viewer. They even have this OCR, so this is the full text extraction of a PDF over here in this other tab. But you can attach any object as a binary object. So this is an Excel file by the looks of it. But any data format that your faculty use are able to be included as binary. Okay, let me click through these couple. This is the this is an audio file. This is the it's actually the video.js player. This to me looks like it's a native player within the Chrome browser. If I were to click this, I don't think you'll hear it on your side. You can see the player controls come up. You can click to download the original file, metadata, and so on. So there's nothing inherently special about audio and video content. It's just treated as the same as any other object in your collection, except for the viewer is different. Here is a video in the browser. This is a pretty low resolution video here, but it is a self-hosted video. Here's another one. If you do have VTT transcripts for purposes of accessibility or otherwise, you can see that it loads right inside of the player here. If I leave this tab up, we can actually go and look at how that is achieved after I log in. Finally, here is my Islandora presentation this summer. So this is not a locally hosted video. This is a YouTube video that's been placed inside of the player here. And actually, if I click over to Boston College for a second and just run a search here, they actually have quite a lot of remote video that's excellent. So if I go into video recordings, you can see a similar mechanism live here. While I'm on the Boston College site, the Boston College site is primarily that video content and IR content. So if you're interested in using Islandora and Aurora for IR content, this is a really excellent site to review in terms of functionality. We are actually working, Boston College has generously sponsored a few of our roadmap items. So we're actually working on a self-deposit workflow, among other things right now that will be coming to Aurora very soon after that work is completed. Okay, where were we? Audio, video, video, more video. Okay. So that is a quick introduction to the content that Aurora natively supports out of the box. Before I go on and talk about access restrictions and other things, are there any questions? No? Well, feel free to throw something in the chat or just unmute and ask a question. Happy to have this be interactive. Okay, so let's talk about access restrictions then, because this is another sort of out-of-the-box feature. I think this is probably about where I'm going to log in and show this to you. There are essentially 3 different types of access restriction that are built into Aurora out of the box. One is date-based embargoes. So if you have, say, research papers that that need to be held private until a certain date passes, that's easy. You just set the date, and it will allow the content to be found as metadata only for anonymous users until that date passes. For administrators, of course, they can view the entire metadata once they've logged it. There's also the ability to do the same metadata only restrictions with IP filtering. So the objects in both of these cases would come up in Discovery. You'd be able to run a search and find the object, but then it would tell you this is metadata only because of it's embargoed, or because you're outside of the campus and you should go to campus and then you'll have access. The third type of access control is what we call a groups-based access control. So we've included 5 different groups for both users and objects. I'll log in and show how this works, but the 5 different access control types that you can apply very easily are metadata only. So that behaves the same way as I described up here, where you can find the object, but you can't download the binary that's associated with it. You can't view the viewer. You can just see the metadata. There's a limited access where users have to be authenticated to search objects or view their metadata or media. So what that means is these limited access objects do not show up in a search for anonymous users. Differentiated access open allows for viewing and searching are unrestricted for anonymous and authenticated users. Only admin level users can download these objects. So that little download button that we saw a couple times is not present for those objects. Differential access limited. Viewing and searching these objects is restricted to logged in users. Again, only admin level users can download them. And then finally, admin only. So these objects are essentially unpublished. They're hidden except for admin only. And Drupal does have a notion of published and unpublished as well as all of this. So you can use the public, you can unpublish an object and it will disappear from public access, outside of all of this access control as well. So I think there's a link here. Yeah, demo collection. All right, so if I click through this, I am not logged in and I can see 2 things here. And they are a differential access open object and a metadata only object. So let's click metadata only first. You can see that the viewer that should be right here is not here, right? That's a correct behavior for a metadata only object. And if I click in, this is differential access open, so we are able to actually see the viewer, but we do not have that download link. We could go off on a tangent about how anything you view in your browser is really downloadable if you go after it hard enough. And that is a caveat, I would say, for the remove the download link. Like as administrators of a site, you should be aware that anything that is shown in the browser is fundamentally downloadable, even if the easy download link is not there. Okay, but let's log in. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the About page. I'm gonna go down here and we're gonna click the demo collection. Now that I'm logged in, yeah, I can see all 5 objects in here, right? So the 2 that we had before, differential access open, as well as metadata only, are there. And in addition, we have an admin only access object. So this would not show up in a search unless I'm logged in. But now that I am logged in, I think I can search squall like this. and I do get that object. If I'm not logged in, I wouldn't even see this as part of the discovery layer. Limited access, since I'm an admin, these like mid-tier access objects, I'd have to log in as a non-administrator to really show you the, the variance over who is able to see the download button and so on. But I just wanted to show the objects appearing and disappearing as different user roles view the site. Another thing to just show off for a moment while we're here is this date range slider. This is something that we've finished work on this summer and we're very proud of. So this now is, I would say, a much better interface for filtering objects based on date, and it does support EDTF dates. Okay, before I click into the admin of any objects, are there questions about access control or anything else that I brought up? All right. So which object was it where I said, oh, it was the one with a video. Let me show you another way to browse the site if you're interested in specific content. So if you're on the home page, or if you click into Browse Collections, it's the same thing. You'll be shown the 3 top-level collections of this demo site. So if you're looking for audiovisual objects, they're in this first collection. Complex objects, things like those compounds, books, newspapers, periodicals, all of that is displayed in here. And then some of that IR content is down in this third category. But I think if we're looking for the video with VTT captions, we are looking in here. There we go. Okay, so let's go take a look at what does this look like on the back end. So the first thing you'll notice is this is the metadata entry form. Unlike Islandora 7, if you're used to that, this is the native Drupal content management interface. So you're editing content that is stored in the Drupal database, which is a key distinction. And so you can see that resource type is set to moving image, genre is set for video file, and so on. There's a few contributors. There's an EDTF date for the date issued, and a set of metadata, not all of which is used. And that is the power and flexibility of Islandora 2. It's a pretty broad metadata format that you're provided with, and the metadata format that comes out of the box with Aurora is very close to the standard that is provided by the Islandora Foundation with a few small modifications. If you're interested in seeing that field list, I hope that it is linked on the features page, but I'd have to double check that to be sure. But email Roxanne if you can't find it there, and we will get you that list if you're interested. So one of the things you would notice if you went through this carefully is that there's not any file upload on this screen. This is simply the metadata screen. There are a few things down here at the bottom, like which access control you want to apply for this object. Do you want to override the default viewer with a different one? Here's the embargo setting, and here's that publication checkbox, right? If I uncheck this, it disappears instantly from the site. If you have some sort of an issue where you needed to do that. So where are the objects? Where are the binaries? The binaries are in this media tab. So you can see that this MP4 was the original file that was attached to this video. Fits automatically exported technical metadata about that media file, a screenshot or a thumbnail. I think this thumbnail was uploaded manually. I don't think it auto-generates a thumbnail. Maybe it does auto-generate, but it was a terrible one because it was the first frame of the video, and so we uploaded a different one in May of this year by the looks of it. And then the service file is probably a downscaled version of the MP4. If you upload a really big video, this is going to be materially different. In this case, I think we uploaded a relatively small video, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's practically the same object. If I go in to edit this MP4, so this is not actually like what you see here shows you the name of the file is MP4, but it is a Drupal media object, and in fact there are two different media attached here. So one is the actual video file itself, and as I suspected, it's pretty small. The second one is the VTT caption file. So you can come in and upload a caption file in here, and that's all it takes to get those captions to show up on the front end in the viewer. Okay. What else do I want to show?
Nora, we have a question. Brian is asking, can more than one caption be added, say one per language?
Oh, that's a great question, Brian. I think that the Video.js player only supports one language. I know there are other video players that do support multiple languages, but I don't think the Video.js player, at least the way that Islandora includes it, supports multiple languages. So that would probably be a feature that we could only build out for an enterprise client, or something that could go onto our roadmap if enough clients asked about it, and then potentially could make it into, you know, the Aurora ecosystem as well. And that's the way we treat things like this. I guess I can take that little detour here. When we build enterprise sites, we start with a starter, we build all the custom functionality that you ask us for, and we deliver it, and then we keep adding to it and iterating with you over time. But it's very much, it has a common ancestor with our sites, but it is yours, and you probably have quite a lot of additions and modifications to it. With Aurora, one of the hard lines in order to keep the cost down is that everybody gets the same code. Now that doesn't mean that everybody's site looks the same or functions the same, because Drupal allows so much modification in the admin area, right? So you're able to change anything you can change in the admin area, but the code that is running on the server is exactly the same for every Aurora client. And what that allows us to do is keep our maintenance costs down, because essentially we're maintaining one application that has many different distributions, many different uses out in the wild. And it does sort of force us into this product thinking, right? Where if somebody asks for a feature, we have to think, is this beneficial to everybody who uses Aurora? And the answer has to be a pretty resounding yes before we add it to the package. But there are some easy no-brainer things also, right? Like many clients want Google Analytics, so the Google Analytics module's in there, right? If you don't use Google Analytics, that's fine. You can just disable it. It doesn't bother you at all. So there's a lot of things like that where we do try to provide that sort of functionality where it's useful.
Thank you, Noah. And we do have another question from Ling. Is VTT the only caption format can be used if they have other caption files that needed to convert to VTT before upload?
I believe so, but I would have to check on that. I recall using SRT caption files, I believe, at some point in the past, but I may be thinking of either a custom project or a previous version of Islandora. But I think they're all relatively interchangeable. Like last time we did a bunch of work with captions, I believe we converted a bunch of SRTs to VTTs, and there were pretty decent command line tools to do that, if I recall. Okay, a couple other things. There is an advanced search. I am not the target audience for advanced search. I actually really love how faceted search works and how you can get, in my mind, everywhere you want to get to with advanced search. But there is with a faceted search. There is an advanced search functionality. You should play around with that if you're interested in it. I have also found that when clients say advanced search, every one of them means something different. So play around with it. And again, write to us if you have questions about whether advanced search can be made to do what you want it to do.
Sorry, as a researcher, I would say advanced search helps when you're using search protocols. So if you were searching like a repository of like, academic output, theses, dissertation, or the like, being able to use those search terms specific to a protocol, like a systematic review protocol, would be beneficial. So you aren't the right audience, but I certainly have spent a ton of time with those advanced search modules in my university library.
So yeah, playing around with it in Boston College's repository might be the way to do it. I can see that there's a number of fields that you can use here, and then basically it's an is or is not. I think we've worked with, starts with, and there's a lot more that often folks want in this area. So I would say this is something that's on our future roadmap to continue to iterate with. Other questions or comments? Okay, I did promise to talk about accessibility for a minute. And if I go back over to the features page, I think we make a bigger deal of it over here. The site is WCAG 2.2 AA compliant when it comes out of the box to you. Now you have to upload captions and do the other things that you have to do to keep your content compliant. But we take accessibility standards very seriously, and we've published a VPAT, which you can see we completed earlier this year, which outlines our various compliances with each of the different criteria for WCAG 2.2 AA. There are a couple of places on here where we say partially supports, and I believe the only couple of exceptions here are that OpenSeaDragon, which we've included for legacy purposes, includes a little bit of a keyboard trap, where if you're using a screen reader and not a mouse, in a visual browser, you can get sort of stuck in there. But though that is outside of our control in terms of if we're going to include the OpenSeaDragon viewer, it's going to have the possibility of creating that issue. That is one of the reasons why we pushed into using Mirador almost exclusively for new work, and we definitely recommend that Mirador is used instead of OpenSeaDragon on sites. But enough folks really like it that we've included it. And there is a sort of groundswell for the Universal Viewer, and the Universal Viewer did undergo this summer a big accessibility push. When we evaluated it in the spring, it did not. It actually was not as performant as Mirador for accessibility purposes, and so we made the choice for Mirador. But it's worth keeping an eye on because it is actually really powerful. And you can essentially send all of your objects to the same Universal Viewer if you use that. So anyway, there's one Mirador partially supports as well. But we're very proud to have achieved the level of accessibility that we were able to, and we stay up to date with that as the theme changes and as features are added.
I was actually just, and I don't know, like back to the captioning, multi-language captioning, like would an embedded video, like if you had it on Vimeo, YouTube, or other, like they would offer that?
Yeah, so certainly. So that is really about the capabilities of the player. So if we were to go back to video recordings at BC, and we should have, after we get this going, all of the full power of YouTube. And if we can't get it here, you'll be able to click through and get,
my name is Islandora. I'm
a full page video display on YouTube with all of their functionality. Okay. All right, does anybody have a site that they have in a legacy platform that they're thinking about moving into Islandora, where they have a feature that they're concerned might get left behind, or other questions like that? I'm happy to take questions on cross-compatibility or upgrade paths or data migration, a lot of things that a visual demo doesn't cover. And again, a public setting is not the right place for it. I'm also happy to have a follow-up call anytime.
All right, thank you, Noah. And Johnny, would you like to add anything before we close the session?
No, just appreciate everyone attending. We will have a recording of the session edited down and then posted on our website. So if anyone would like to see it, we're happy to share. If there was a desire for a one-on-one demo or private conversation, as we've had with some of you already, more than happy to organize that. So yeah, Roxanne, I think you can. Yeah.
Oh, I think we have another question from Jay. Is there any batch uploading and editing functions?
So the short answer is yes. The long answer is there's a number of different tools that are available. We recommend a tool for batch uploading and editing primarily called Islandora Workbench. It does have the downside of being something that runs locally on your computer and interacts with the website as an API, through an API. So it's actually talking to the back end of Drupal. And that's very efficient for loading a lot of content. If you opt in for the onboarding package, we run a series of trainings to bring you and your staff up to speed with using that tool set. It is really a power user's tool set, and there are some sort of lower grade tools if you want to do simpler or smaller achieve similar or smaller objectives with uploading a small CSV to the website, or batch editing a bunch of content that's already on the website. There are a bunch of things you can do just through the browser, but Workbench is certainly the most powerful and flexible, and that's what we train and support most clients with. Yep. You're welcome.
Thank you, Noah. And are there any other questions? All right. I think, yeah, if there aren't any questions, we can probably give a few minutes back to your calendars. I just want to say thank you to Noah again for your presentation. It's I believe that everyone will find this session very informative and helpful. And as Johnny mentioned, that we'll be sharing the recording on Discovery Garden's YouTube channel, and I'll send you the link in the coming days. And if you have further questions, or if you'd like to schedule a private demo or have a follow-up discussion with our team, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we love to connect. So I wanted to say just thank you again, and for spending your time with us today, and wish you all a wonderful rest of the day. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Roxanne.
Bye. Thanks, Roxanne. Bye-bye.
Thank you.